The Navajo code talkers played a key role in World War II. They had to stay calm during battle while communicating coded messages. The code talkers were a part of the Pacific Theater, and they went through countless hours of training to serve with honor. They helped in World War II from 1942 to 1945. However, their work wasn't recognized until the operation was declassified in 1962. There were about 375 to 420 code talkers whose actions helped save thousands of soldiers' lives. In 1918, the Choctaw tribe used their language as a code in World War I. They didn't make a solid code, they just used their own language. The idea of using American Indians who were fluent in both their traditional tribal language and in English to send secret messages in battle was not a new idea, as the Allies struggled to gain the upper hand. Native Americans were first put to the test in World War I with the Choctaw Telephone Squad and other Native communication experts. However, it wasn't until World War II that the U.S. military developed a specific policy to recruit and train American Indian speakers to become code talkers. What exactly is a code talker? A code talker is a name given to Native Americans who use their tribal language to help send secret communications onto the battlefield. Most people have heard of the Navajo or Dine code talkers that use their native language to transmit secret messages in the Pacific Theater of Combat. There used to be at least 14 other Native nations, including the Comanche and Cherokee, that served as code talkers. The U.S. military had to encrypt communications from the enemy intelligence in World War I and World War II. Few people outside of American Indian tribes understood their languages. Because of this, their languages were ideal encryption mechanisms. Throughout the progression of both wars, the Army and the Marine Corps recruited hundreds of American Indians to become code talkers. When the U.S. enrolled in World War II, military leaders remembered the success of the Choctaw code talkers and enlisted recruits from the Navajo, Kiowa, Hopi, Creek, Seminole, and other tribes to encrypt messages from the Army and the Marine Corps. Working with Navajo leaders, the Marine Corps initially recruited 29 Navajo men to train as code talkers in special designed courses. By the end of the war, the Marines had over 400 Navajo men trained as code talkers. Many of them served in the Pacific Theater. The Army had similar training programs for its code talkers, who generally served in Europe and North America. The irony of being asked to use their native language to fight on behalf of America was not lost on code talkers, many of whom had been forced to attend government or religious-run boarding schools that tried to assimilate Native peoples and would punish students for speaking in their traditional language. After 7 weeks of basic training, about 400 Navajo code talkers were sent to the Pacific Theater to fight. The communication of these Navajo code talkers were essential to the victory of World War I. Code talkers fought very hard, and without their communication, the outcome of World War II would be completely different.
When the war ended, Pan Am could look back on a job well done. Its unique experience had been the basis for the country's entire wartime international air transport operations. But although the war was over, Pan Am's position as an
The legacy of code talkers goes very deep. However, they didn't get very much recognition until years after the war. Their hard work wasn't appreciated or recognized for a while. It wasn't until November 20th of 2013 that 33 tribal members were finally recognized. These code talkers attended an interview and got to share their stories. In 2002, a movie called Wind Talkers was released, showing light on the story of the Navajo code talkers. The movie sadly didn't do very well and got a lot of bad reviews from critics. This is because the movie didn't accurately display what it was like for the code talkers and was very whitewashed. Overall, the Navajo code talkers used their skills in combat and communications to change the outcome of World War II. Their work in the Pacific Theater saved the lives of many. Their secret code was never figured out by the enemy, which gave them a leg up in the war.